All right, everyone. Testing, testing. Should be capable of hearing here. Just a second. I've got to calibrate everything and make sure that it works because I am on YouTube and Twitch. I'm on these antiquated sites with their antiquated tech. It's a big problem. By the way, we have our first super chat already, and we're already half of the way to one BLU, one Biden loser unit. We will be ridiculing Biden here, and I'm going to talk so much about this. Also, the jobs report. There's some truly crazy shit happening right now. Can't imagine that it's good for his Quinnipiac polling by J-Dog. Did you see the big protest in Michigan greeting Biden on Tuesday? That was literally up the road from my house. Excellent. Yes, let's go, Brandon, is the new chant. I find that hilarious. They were trying to cover for Joe Biden. Backstory for anyone that doesn't realize. People were saying fuck Joe Biden at a NASCAR event, that makes sense since everyone hates him. And so the announcer there tried to cover it up by saying that they were saying, let's go Brandon, which they were not. They were saying fuck Joe Biden. So yeah, a good time had by all. Can anyone tell me, is my audio okay? I've got to ask this of other people because I myself do not know. As a Luddite in a transformative phase here, I'm probably going to have to figure out Linux fairly soon since Windows is going to force 11 down everyone's throat. I'm looking for all sorts of alternatives for all of the old tech that I've been using. I see my audio is good. Excellent. By the way, this is a perennial problem. Biden will probably be more quiet than I am, but he is in an indoor setting. He does have the teleprompter and the microphone and stuff right in front of him. So to his credit, he'll probably sound better than when he's in an outdoor event or when he's at one of those staged events, in the executive building across from the White House. That's where they force him to do his addresses now. Like when he got his booster shot, he wasn't even in the White House. It was a stage, a setup. This is supposedly a very transparent and popular administration. I posit that he pooped his pants in the Oval Office, and after having to clean up the shit several times, the Secret Service threatened to bail on him, and so he was forced to never go to the Oval Office again. By the way, this is not the most unlikely possibility, just to be clear. HF, Sticks 2024. Yeah, I would never run for that office. I never want to set foot in D.C. You get corrupted. Norn Iron John, fuck Trudeau. Looks like I may lose my job here in Canada with the vaccine mandates. I will not comply. Yeah, the cat's being a race car again. By the way, neither will I. I am not vaccinated. I do not care. I do not intend to be. Whether I travel back and forth between the U.S. and the Netherlands, I'm not going to get vaccinated. There's no reason to. I mean, it's shit to me. I don't give a shit. Biden doesn't either. Even odds. Did he get the booster shot or was it saline? Who knows? By the way, we're not allowed to talk about climate change unless it's to say that humans are solely responsible for it and it'll turn the planet into Tatooine, because otherwise YouTube will suspend the super chat. So just so YouTube knows, clearly the planet is going to become uninhabitable in the next 10, 20 years because of human activity. Volcanoes mean nothing. That's the way that it works. I'm thinking Twitch is less censored than YouTube at this point. Anyway, we'll be going into Joe Biden in just a moment here because he's going to take the stage. But beforehand, I figured that we would cover two very interesting things. First, in this very same remark video that he's making here that we're going to be ridiculing, Cori Bush, you remember Brisket Head, the golem of Chicago? She actually did a fairly lengthy speech before Biden was on here. If you go to the link in the description, you can see that for yourself. I don't know why you'd want to because she's insufferable talking about vaccines and stuff. And I'm thinking Chicago is basically burning to the ground. You've got 2 dozen shootings every single weekend in Chicago, but you're worried about 2 or 3 deaths from COVID that are at this point not entirely attributed to the unvaccinated. They have Cori Bush on and other losers, even bigger losers than Biden. At least he could seek the presidential office. At least he could be honk elected to that particular position. Can you imagine if Cori Bush ran? Mayor of Chicago. Again, she looks like Gollum. Oh, Cory Bush is St. Louis. Yeah, what's the name of the one? What's the mayor of Chicago? Yeah, I got it wrong there. They all run together. Lori Lightfoot. Yes, Lori Lightfoot. I apologize for that. Lori Lightfoot, the golem of Chicago. She looks a little bit like Smeagol in one of his less lucid moments when he's being possessed by the Ring of Power. I wish that this were a joke. Seriously, look it up. Look it up for yourself and then watch Lord of the Rings, which I've been binge watching actually all 3 parts of the Lord of the Rings lately. You know, I found it funny. Yeah, Proudfoot. Yes, if a hobbit got completely possessed. She does look a little bit like possessed Bilbo, actually, in that one scene in Rivendell. When he sees the ring around Frodo's neck, and he's like, oh, I should like to hold it one last time. Don't say her name 3 times. Yes, I know. She does look a little bit like Beetlejuice as well. Absolutely. By the way, it is October, so I won't say the name 2 more times because, you know, don't have a death wish. Yes, Brandon is here, by the way. Let's go, Brandon. I have a feeling that that chant is going to become quite popular over the coming months, considering the jobs report. And that's the other thing that I wanted to get to really briefly before we started on ridiculing Joe Biden. The jobs report for September is now out. It was, again, as with August, about 300,000 jobs below the expected. Why do I feel like their expectations were overly optimistic? And why do you think that is? Could it be that blue states continue to keep things closed down? Could it be due to onerous business restrictions, keeping everyone in small business or regional chain unemployed? Could it be the result of massive bottlenecking because of coronatarianism on the world shipping lanes? By the way, the shipping lane problem is clearly a COVID crisis. The human response to COVID was to shut down manufacturing and stuff. And unfortunately, what happened is now you have a lot more demand, but they can't keep up with supply because you've kept a lot of dock workers out of work, number 1. Ships couldn't be maintained, number 2. Maintenance crews weren't able to go and maintain the ship, so it'll take them a while to catch up. Even if they work full tilt, it'll take months, potentially, for the shortage problem to be ameliorated, and that was entirely self-imposed. That was entirely Faucist in nature. No other cause, only the coronatarian fear-mongering. James C. We're mandated at L3 Harris to get mandated by December 8th. Weekly check only if L3 grants proven religious application for that to be developed still. I don't know 100% what that means. I'm assuming it has to do with vaccines. That's in the United States. Sad. James C. will not comply. Also, happy birthday to my son, Little James. Well, happy birthday, Little James. I don't know how old you are. May you have many healthy years ahead. Inquisitor Jack. I have until 8th of December, unless something changes, applying for exemption. Damn the state that we allowed to usurp us and abolish liberty. Yeah, you should hold the line. You should refuse to comply. Scott Steiner, the world's greatest ring announcer. I'm pretty sure 4chan boards can do a better job at running this country. Poll is clearly better at finding people than the FBI. Hashtag, he will not divide us. Yes, actually, I remember that vividly. That was those were good times. Yes, 4chan is absolutely better than U.S. law enforcement at finding fugitives, etc. Black Raven, I think we live in a Hunger Games style dystopia since the rich and powerful don't have to follow edicts. Yes, you will notice that at the Emmys or in D.C., you know, among politicians, they don't have to deal with the mask mandates that everyone else around them has to deal with. They're not forced to get the jab. They're not forced to do anything. Gavin Newsom multiple times has been caught out going to lavish dinners at taxpayer expense, presumably. Where there was no social distancing or masks. But it's very important that you do these things. You should comply. Be a good little lemming. Be a good little slave. The Arcadian 300 leaving for New Hampshire in 2 years. Won't miss socialist Quebec. Yeah, I've actually been looking into the Free State Project. I'm considering, because I was born in New Hampshire and I've been there a bunch of times, I am considering relocating there in the future. Especially with Vermont now potentially being the one to take all the Haitian refugees, aka illegals. It's clear that the border is no longer functioning since Biden has been elected. There's no reason to go to a far leftoid state that doesn't respect its own population. It's sad, and I can't imagine that many people from Haiti would want to stay in Vermont due to the climate. But the principle behind it is purely nonsense. Philip Black, how do you respond to recent rumors that there could be a secret romance between Jen Psaki and Peter Doocy, and she calls him Juicy Doocy? Yeah, that'd be about as believable as the what was it, Kristi Noem. They were saying that she was having an affair with what's his name there from the Trump campaign, Corey Lewandowski or something like that. Doubtful. Troublesome Boner, have you seen the trailer for Disney Plus Fauci documentary? Currently ratioed 900 likes, 14K dislikes on YouTube. No, I haven't. I wouldn't be surprised if they made a documentary that got ratioed, though. Disney should be ratioed for its Star Wars alone. Thomas Fitton, thoughts on the Dindu Nuffin meme? Is your office a shared space, or can you stop the putty cat from moaning in the background? What are they moaning at? I don't know what they're moaning at, and I can't stop them because they're cats. I think that meme is funny because it's basically a slap at the legacy media. A lot of people consider it about race, but ultimately it's about legacy media coverage of crime cases. Philip Malone, $5, no comment, thank you. Lev Polyakov, thank you again for coming on BreakTheRules.tv yesterday with Joel Davis. Would be fun to do a longer dive with him on discussed topics. Yeah, sometime that'd be fun, but it'd have to be back when I'm in the United States, because the thing is, like, my time slot here, because of the time difference, is a lot different. It's a lot lower. By the way, we're at 4 BLUs, 4 Biden loser units. There are 1,200 people watching. So anyway, we're going to listen to some Biden here. Unfortunately, it's not just me rambling. I know that that's probably more entertaining, but then so is watching your nail polish dry. So we'll get to some Biden here. Here he is.
Jerry, thank you.
The little man himself. Come on, man. You should get the vaccine.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, thanks for the passport into town. I tell you, every time I come to the greater Chicago area, there's somebody I want to steal and bring back to Washington, Gov. I've done it a couple times, you know.
Every time you go to Chicago, someone wants to steal your watch? Did I hear that? I'm going to listen to that again.
Thanks for the passport into town. I tell you, every time I come to the greater Chicago area, there's somebody I want to steal and bring back to Washington, Gov. I've done it a couple times, you know.
Steal and bring back the Washington, Gov? I could have sworn he said steal his watch. That would be more apt now, wouldn't it?
Anyway, look,
we're only 30 seconds in. He's already saying weird shit. This is going to be a good one.
Every company needs people like you, every single one. Someone who knows what my dad taught me, and a lot of people who know me well, including the governor's sister, who I worked closely with for 8 years. My dad used to have an expression. He used to say, everyone's entitled to be treated with dignity. And Joey, a job's a hell of a lot more than about a paycheck. It's about your dignity.
I wish his dad were president. He sounds intelligent. Man of sex, I'd like to thank Biden for vax mandates. I got a new job with 2 times the salary after leaving my current vax mandated job. Yes, good idea. As Razorfist said, look for other job opportunities if they're doing the vax thing. Silently, do it behind their back, and do what you need to do. Wrong opinion. Please shout out Aussie Cossack. He was arrested by Australian police here 2 hours ago for speaking up. Love from the prison down under, Australia. Yeah, I did see that. I haven't looked into the full story, but I did hear about that. Tony Soprano, opinions on Keith Woods. No, I have no opinions on Keith Woods, or any other Woods for that matter, other than the woods behind my house. Good old Robbie, I had my butt wiped. Unlike Joe, he's looking a little bit brown around the edges there. Someone you may know, Sticks, I've taken the plunge and am now the proud owner of an 1895 Nagant. As a revolver guy, what would you say are some must-have revolvers? If you can get an HR Sportsman, the Top Break 9-shot 22, oh boy, talk about fun for plinking and reliability. Not great for self-defense, although there are shorter-barreled varieties. You theoretically carry them around if you wanted, but it's so fun. Margaret Galderizzi, $5. No comment, thank you. EpicMan004. I saw Andy Cuomo at a massage parlor massaging Vaush. He then asked him if he wanted to tickle his chocolate starfish. I proceeded to vomit and run. I think everyone would. Harvey Quarry, speaking of Star Wars, I can imagine Joe Biden as Palpatine. Yeah, he does look a little bit similar. We'll get to his nonsense here, though.
It's about your place in the community. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, everything's going to be okay. That's the God's truth. He said ever since he lost, things went south in Scranton, Pennsylvania when I was a kid and coal shut down. My dad was not a coal miner. I had a great-grandfather who was a coal miner engineer, but, he was a salesperson. Everything, we moved down to Wilmington, Delaware, a little town called Claymont, a little steel town. There's no steel anymore, but right on the border of Pennsylvania. And it was always about the dignity of work. And what you've been doing here about this pandemic is about protecting the dignity of your fellow Americans. You stayed in an operations mode, lining up protective equipment for the rest of the country, all around the country. And when the vaccine came out, you all stepped up and you got the shots. And as a company, you're getting more shots and arms. And I want to thank Auto for hosting us here at Clayco, one of the Midwest's biggest construction companies. $3 billion a year in revenue. Thousands of employees nationwide.
They have billions of dollars a year in revenue. Why isn't he saying, hey, you haven't paid your fair share? Why don't you pay more taxes, you greedy sons of a bitches? But he's not going to tell that to him because they're hosting him, of course. The Everyday Witch. Good day, Mr. Sticks. I am a nurse being forced to be jabbed. Last year, I'm not a zero. Funny how fast things have changed. I'm trying not to get blackpilled. Well, nobody's forcing you. In theory, you could find a different locale or do a picketing. Chad Harris. Biden thinks diarrhea is hereditary because it runs in his genes. And Philip Malone, $1, no comment. So thank you very much. Again, I am not live on Odyssey because they were having some sort of glitch. I attempted to clear the live stream claim, and I couldn't do it. I tried it 3 times, and it didn't work. So, unfortunately, right now, I'm not live on Odyssey. I wish I was. But
100% union, not labor, union. Union. One of the reasons I said I ran was to rebuild this country, rebuild the backbone of the country. And I meant this sincerely. The backbone is to build from the bottom up and the middle out. I'm a capitalist. I think these people should be able to go out and make a lot of money.
A backbone, something Biden doesn't have. And he is a capitalist who does not believe in capitalism.
That's not the problem. But everybody should have an even shot. And who built the middle class? Unions built the middle class. Not a joke, without the unions, we would not have a middle class in America.
Considering the fact that the middle class, in the modern sense, begins in the Renaissance with the clearing out of the feudal lords, which I debated about with Joel Davis the other day, because of the plague, I'm rating that as a mostly false claim. I believe that there were actual middle classers in the United States before unions actually existed. Biden apparently disagrees, which might explain his economic proposals and why they've kept down job growth and hyperinflation is taking hold. Saltness Monster. If a mandated vaccine results in serious illness or death, shouldn't politicians who mandated be criminally liable if it goes wrong? Potentially, but we're not allowed to talk about that too much on YouTube or Twitch, potentially.
I don't know. You're constructing buildings for some of America's biggest companies, but you're also doing something bigger than that. You're helping us beat back COVID-19. So are the great leaders who are here today. JP, you, Governor, you've done more than about anybody I can think of in any state. I mean that sincerely. You've stepped up. You've always done what you said you're going to do.
Have you noticed that Biden has to constantly remind people that he's being sincere? Pretty much every speech, he says that basic same line. That's pretty much a psychological tell for the fact that he's not actually being sincere. I can't wait till he applauds Lori Lightfoot. Yeah, 2,000 some odd people have died in Chicago since you became mayor, but you're doing a great job, dude.
And you've been relentless in getting people vaccinated. In the Midwest, you're leading. You're leading. And it's real. It's not hyperbole. And Mayor Lightfoot, who
it's really
please
not.
Go back to work. I'm going to get in trouble. She had to leave. But Mayor Lightfoot, the same thing. In Elk Grove, Mayor Johnson, you've
So he glosses over Lightfoot. He barely mentions her. She had to leave. I wonder why. Why did she have to leave? Did she have to go and violate her own COVID rules again, like she's done 5 or 6 times now, to get her hair did or something? Not that it helps. I mean, she still looks like Gollum. But Michael Uzri, Sticks, the only commentator who still evokes the sacred spirit of Seth Putnam. Thanks for all your work. Yes, Seth Putnam, one of the greats. Absolutely. With anal cunt. Thomas Finton, am I the only one that cannot help but look at Joe's forehead and think it looks like a Klingon's? That plastic surgeon really did a number on him. Well, I mean, yeah, he looks all right for someone who's 78 years old, but that is because of the surgery, yeah. Truckin' Bear, funny, I'm in the middle class at a non-union company. Weird. Madocaster, any suggestions on how to convince younger folks that Biden and the rest of the monster mash aren't acting on their self-interest on speech, money, etc.? You'll have to delve deep into their proposals. But, I mean, since they're basically shallow end of the swimming pool bullshit proposals, it shouldn't be too hard. Zipierl, or Zip in real life, perhaps. Currently fighting off RSV, way worse than COVID was for me personally. I don't know what RSV is, but good luck. EpicMan004, watch Lord Bogdanov on YouTube. He's hilarious. Okay, Lord Bogdanov. Mr. Twisted Frenzy, how well do you think the defortification process of each state is going? Do you think it will make a difference come 2022, or is it too early to tell? Too early to tell, keep it up, but I'm assuming it will have an impact. Journey Trials, enjoy. Coach Red Pill has said that to get out while you still can. Do you agree? It depends on what you're trying to get out of. I mean, YouTube, I'm going to stand my ground on YouTube as long as I'm allowed on the platform in order to drive people to other sites that are better. So I would say, no, I don't believe in withdrawing. Fight to the last man. Green Luigi, in North Southwest Australia, we hit the vaccine milestone, and all that happened was unvaccinated people are banned from entering businesses. No actual restrictions were dropped. Our reward is only getting 1/3 of our customers. Yeah, you've got it hard there. They're extending the Corona Pass here in the Netherlands, but I think no one listens, so it doesn't really matter. Elmar001. Here in Melbourne, Australia, Dan Andrews just got fined $400 for breaking his own mask mandate rules. I'm sure he will really miss 1 hour's salary. They should fine him $4 million and then see what happens. Steve Watt, I'm going to get in trouble. Joe Biden. That always makes me think he's not running the show. Yeah, he says that constantly. It's like, what are you talking about, dude? Journey Trials, enjoy. No, the Western world. Get out while you still can. No, I disagree. I'm staying in the West. I stand and fight. If other people don't want to do that because they don't have the balls, then whatever.
You've done a hell of a job as well. We have 11 members of Congress here. Raja, thank you for hosting this in your district, for permission to come into the district. And I also want to thank
you for giving the president permission to show up in your city. It's really, your permission is very, very important to his motorcade.
Colleagues in the House of Representatives.
Papers,
Quigley,
please, Mr.
Robin
Biden.
Kelly, Bobby Rush, Danny Davis, Jan Sikowski, an old friend, Bill Foster, Brad Schneider, Sean Caston, Lauren Underwood, and Marie Newman. And I know, I look, for them, you'd all understand it in a different context, but this is a busman's holiday for them to have to come here and other politicians speak. You know what I mean? Not a joke, folks. I appreciate it.
Whenever somebody constantly says, not a joke, folks, oh, this isn't hyperbole, you can trust me, I'm not lying, don't you get the sense that they're actually full of shit? I've met people like that. Normally they're full of shit. John Marafa, Lori Lightfoot, if Beetlejuice and Gollum had a love child, since both characters are male, she would need to be delivered through a different birth canal. I think she was. That might be the problem. Isaac DeZormo, let me make this clear. Joe Biden. Yeah, he's got more memes than me at this point. Butt's been wiped. Let me make this clear. We need more Sticks Hexen memes. Fucking ramp up the meme generators, people. We're falling behind in the meme wars.
I appreciate it.
Because Joe Biden is such a self-satirist.
And I know they wanted to be here, but there's other...
That's the thing. They didn't want to be there. They don't want to be seen with Joe Biden. Quinnipiac, which does push polling, +5 Dem, has him at 38% approval right now. They don't want to be seen with you. I'm the mayor of Chicago. Okay, it's super majority Dem. I'm doing a shitty job, but I'm still above water. You're not. Why the hell would I want to be seen with you, dude? Lori Lightfoot wanted to leave because she didn't even want to come up on stage. Probably they probably had to bribe her. Well, it will give you a free certificate for 5 more hairdressing appointments. Again, not that it'll do any good. Song, not a joke. You mean Corn Pop really was a bad dude? Yeah, apparently. It'd be funny if Corn Pop were still alive and he comes out, he makes a YouTube channel and he's dressed like a greaser from the early 60s or something, like the Beatles era. And he's like, yeah, I remember that. Joe Biden wasn't all that. He weren't tough. That'd be so great. Oh man, I hope. The Dragon's Treasure. This speech happened a mile from my house. They closed off so many major roads around it. Traffic was horrendous. Also look up Chicago Mutual Combat. Is that because there's constant hand-to-hand going on in Chicago? Usually it's barrel to barrel, but, I'm sure that people drunkenly fight too. Thomas Fenton, Chicago be looking like a city that is run under the Bet or Oprah network. Nothing says diversity more than a modern-day segregation sold as tolerance. Yes, it is extremely segregated. You'll find that all the crime is limited to lower-class areas that have a significant racial overlap, and Lori Lightfoot is not part of those communities. She lives in the mostly white suburbs, actually. Realm Center 40. If I get forced into unemployment, they will have succeeded in losing a taxpayer and nothing else. My trade does not require a corporate umbrella. Yeah, trade amongst yourselves, freelance. Go under the table. Just make sure not to break any tax laws. Hint, hint. Just like your guns should be lost in a boating accident, your money, you would never trade anything under the table, like a pound of carrots for a couple cabbages or anything like that. That never happened. Nobody's ever done that in the history of mankind. It would be illegal, I guess. Jay, sending some coffee cash. Sticks, love your content, man. Your no F's of changing who you are is what makes me come back for more. Thanks for not kneeling. And I will never kneel before any person. Black Raven, Animal Farm Fauci is right. Napoleon is right. Row House, Sticks, what does Nick Fuentes say about China that you disagree with? I see the debate is set up now. Yes, me and Nick Fuentes will be debating in November 4th, if I remember correctly. He is of the mind that we should adopt, if I remember correctly, China-style propositions and that they do nationalism better than people in the West do. I'm not going to show my cards because, of course, we're going to be debating, but I disagree with him. We'll put it that way. So he is not necessarily pro-China, but he's pro-Chinese style nationalism. Be funny. Punished Chris, everything is legal till you get caught. Exactly. Just like Biden, his son didn't get caught with regards to his laptop and all of his dirty dealings because nobody ever did journalism.
Those are in Washington. Can't be here. Dick Durbin and Tammy.
Dick Durbin?
They're in Washington and hopefully be voting soon. And also, we've got state leadership here. Lieutenant Governor Julius here, Stratton, and the Ohio, Pennsylvania. I'm from Pennsylvania. The Illinois president Don Harmon, State Senator Laura Murphy, State Rep Martin Moylan, and we got great labor leaders here too. Tim, where's Tim?
Now he's just so confused. He doesn't even know who he's talking about. He lost track of the teleprompter. Isaac Desormo, invest in garage lab, drill press, mill, and generator. Yeah, it's good to have the means of production. The Everyday Witch, I got paid today, so have some more coffee money. I'm so confused as to what Joe Tato is talking about. Trust me, at this point, that's all of us. I'm not sure who he's referring to. And we'll get to it.
There you go, Tim. Thank you.
This is great.
Thank you, pal. AFL-CIO State President. And Jeff Isaacson, United Brotherhood of Carpenters, and Don Finn, IBW, and Robert Reader, Chicago Federation of Labor. And folks, that's how we beat COVID-19, by working together.
That's how we beat COVID-19, by Isaac Reader. That's what that entire paragraph meant. We beat COVID-19 because I was forgetting people's names. By the way, you haven't beat it. More people have died under your watch than died previously. This was even something the legacy media talked about. Not that it makes a difference. We shouldn't be doing anything for COVID at this point. Fuck COVID. People need to get on with their lives. But I mean, if we want to talk about absolutes, no, you didn't put the genie back in the bottle for the China virus that the United States, under your partial leadership as VP at the time, helped to fund. Someone you may know. Thoughts on the IRS wanting banks to track transactions of 600 or more? If it passes, I see 3 parallel economies happening. Cash, cashless, crypto. I see people transferring $599 at a time and it not getting triggered by the algorithms that'll be required to actually monitor such things. That's what I see. It's always a workaround. I'm your daddy. If only Joe Biden were half as smart as my cat, then he'd be twice as smart as he is now. Medieval syphilis, sticks, energy drink, where? I do have one over here, but I have not opened it actually. This is lime water. This is what I use for my voice during live streams because they're longer. So, XLX Bones, XLX. Yo, the comment section were left for the White House video, for the White House latest video. Oh, I'll have to check that. So if you go to the White House live page here, I guess, and you go to their latest video, apparently the comments are still on. Whoops. I can't wait to read those. Maybe after I do this, they'll probably be off by the time that I'm done with this. But Meadowcaster, has anyone seen Harris lately? Vice President cackles. Yes, she actually, there are 2 videos of her on the White House page as well from the other day. I thought about doing one of those because she is more funny than Joe Biden, but I figured this was more meaningful. The Human Centipede. Thoughts on Rand Paul introducing legislator to end animal testing, or at least I think it's to end drug testing on animals. I support it. Test it on felons or something. Test it on, just pay people. Pay them $50, say, hey, we're going to inject you with this shit. It's voluntary, doesn't violate the NAP. And then animals don't get harmed. Pagan libertarian milady. It's fucking elder abuse. It's just sad. Yeah, at this point it is. Isaac DeZormo. He forgot my last name. Let's go, Brandon. Drexkin. Referencing your established science vid, which, by the way, was an exclusive for BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, and Minds today, so make sure to subscribe. Parts of my family stopped talking to me when I reminded them at one time established science claimed the earth was flat and any opinion saying otherwise was misinfo. True. Absolutely true. Multi-happy hacker. For all the talk of businesses needing employees, there are an awful lot of applicants for comp sci jobs on Indeed. 20 minimum, 600 or max so far. Zip IRL. Joe Biden died a long time ago. What you see now is the work of necromancy, and not the work of a master, I think. Aaron Bennett. I'm hearing rumors that China may be developing bioweaponry targeting race and ethnicity. If true, how bad will it get if they release it against the world? I've warned of that for years. It is possible to do. Difficult, but possible. And they seem to be developing bioweapons, so we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll all die. Oh, well, y'all die someday anyway. Who gives a shit? Live your life. Medieval syphilis. Sorry, man. Will you make your own energy drink? No, I wouldn't be as good at it. I like whatever these are. They're called 9 energy drinks. You turn them upside down and it makes 666. It's perfect for me. Adam M. True, U.S. COVID deaths are probably below 50K. Possibly. Depends on the testing parameters.
I have an expression in that little town of Claymont I was from.
I'm going to try to focus on Biden now, so maybe fewer super chats.
You're the reason I'm standing. Not a joke. Not a joke.
Not a
I
joke.
was looking, I was 29 years old for the United States Senate. 17 days before I was eligible to be sworn in. I had to wait around to be sworn in. Not a joke as well. And I won by 3,300 votes. And labor, including the police unions as well as the firefighters, stood up and endorsed me. And
so all the unions that hate him now endorsed him, back when he was sane.
Because I kid with the governor. I said I grew up in a town called Claymont, Delaware from 3rd grade on. I went to a little Catholic school called Holy Rosary, and across the street from Holy Rosary was the fire station. And the guys
and across from that was the whorehouse. That's where he actually learned most of his mannerisms.
Grew up when he became
and the opium den.
A firefighter, a cop, or a priest. I wasn't qualified for any of them, so I had to be president. And so, but look, it's been a month since I laid out a 6-part plan to accelerate the path out of this pandemic. 1, vaccinate the unvaccinated. 2, continue to keep the vaccinated protected. Keep children safe and schools open, which the governor's doing. Increase testing and masking. Protect the economic recovery and improve the care of the people with COVID-19. We've made real progress across the board. More than 185 million Americans are now fully vaccinated. More than 75% of eligible Americans have
Well,
gotten.
that's wonderful. Then leave everyone else alone. It's funny that elsewhere in the civilized world, Northern Europe mainly, of course, none of these mandates exist and people aren't dropping like flies. Kids go to school. They don't have to wear masks. People aren't forced to vaccinate. No problem. Madocaster, thoughts on the history of Columbus Day? Many don't know it was made for the Italian immigrants for inclusion. Not sure leftoids know that. Yes, but I am actually amenable to the idea of eliminating Columbus Day because Columbus never actually set foot in what's now the United States. So there's no reason to. I don't know, have a Balboa Day or something. Why don't we have European Diaspora Day? Let's celebrate them for once instead of the so-called native population that's came across Bering and is not technically native. Why don't we have Leif Erikson Day? At least he set foot in Maine. Isaac DeZormo, when he repeats himself, not a joke. Yeah, of course. Everything he says is a joke. Steve Watt, watching Joe Biden press conferences is almost funnier than watching SNL skits in the early 90s. He's almost a caricature of himself. It's way funnier than anything SNL does now.
One shot. We made great progress on equity as well.
Equity.
Closing the racial the gaps in race as well as ethnic vaccination rates. Recent data shows Latino Americans, Black Americans, Native Americans, and Asian Americans have now gotten vaccinated about the comparable rate as white Americans. That's not happened before. And our work on equity isn't done, but it's an important piece of progress. We're also starting to see less COVID-19 cases in a vast majority of communities around the country. Cases are down this past month by 40%. Hospitalization.
Biden deftly avoids mentioning Vermont statistics, my technical home state. Highest vaccination rate in the country, but cases are soaring. The other day was the second highest case total they've ever had. Not many deaths, but a lot of cases. Why is that, Joe? Is it because they didn't build herd immunity? Because they all stayed home? Because they were locked down? It's interesting how all the lockdown states, especially the rural ones, are now suffering the consequences. Steve Aoki is Chinese spy. We need an Andy 6 log mandate. Yes, everyone should have to gnash down one of his gullet pounders. Biden, I'm sure, already has. He likes sniffy things. So
Hospitalizations are down by 25%. We're headed in the right direction if we keep our eye on the ball here. We still have a long way to go. The fact is, this has been a pandemic of the unvaccinated. Unvaccinated. The unvaccinated overcrowd our hospitals, overrunning emergency rooms and intensive care units. The unvaccinated patients are leaving no room for someone with a heart attack or in need of a cancer operation.
How dare those greedy unvaccinated folks, including some that physically cannot be vaccinated, like pregnant women or the very young or the immunocompromised, how dare they? They are the problem. See, the Untermensch, they, the other group, the minority, the outsiders, they're your problem. Blame them, not me. This is the clear chant of every goddamn forsaken authoritarian throughout time. There's a small group of people. They're making your lives miserable, even if they haven't directly affected you. Quick, attack them. That's what you need to do. Harvey Quarry, he speaks like he has something in his mouth. Yeah, it's called the gum that he can chew, but he can't walk at the same time. Wee lad, losing my job December 8th due to Sleepy's mandate for Fed contractors. I am documenting everything to collect unemployment when it happens. Any other tips? Sue, I can't give you legal advice, but hire a lawyer. Consider joining a class action, maybe. I don't know. Drearier Spider 1, progress on equity. He meets devastating Hispanic border communities and barring over 70% of blacks in New York City from public accommodations, I'm sure. Yes, actually, the vaccine mandate and things like that have been desperately racialized in a de facto sense. It is true. Dr. Zeoden, watched your debate and you did very well, but in my opinion, it was more or less a draw as to who won. You beat him earlier. At the end, it was a circular firing squad. Yeah, well, at least it was a good debate. At least it was one that was civil and wasn't full of straw men. So I liked debating Joel Davis. Charles Hayward, how dare people make decisions for themselves? I know, those greedy people. Individual rights, what the fuck is this shit? You're supposed to be like the Chinese. Madocaster, presuming the unvaccinated people die out, will it be a pandemic of the unboosted? Yeah, exactly. What he doesn't mention is that the majority of those that have been vaccinated never got the second shot. And very, very few have gotten the booster that he himself has provided to people, despite the FDA saying they weren't going to recommend it. So,
and so much more because they can't get into the ICU. They can't get into the operating rooms. The unvaccinated also put our economy at risk.
What would happen if he came out and said the blacks? Well, that's why your kids can't go to school. That's why you couldn't get your heart transplant. The women are doing it. The old people, the 12-year-olds. Most of the unvaccinated, technically eligible at this point, are people like under 12. These kids nowadays, these greedy, entitled little kids, these Gen Zers and Gen Alphas are causing all sorts of problems, keeping their parents from going to work, causing lockdowns. What would happen? He'd be shitting his fucking pants. All of the staff around him would be shitting their fucking pants if he were to say something like that. So how does he get off? Where does he get off with saying that the unvaccinated are the problem? The majority of the U.S. public is vaccinated. While the disease is still spreading, you can't get to 0 cases. Not a single country in this goddamn world at this point believes that. New Zealand was the last holdout. They gave up days ago and made it clear we don't expect to get to 0 cases. They're still keeping things locked down in vain. Not that it's going to do anything. Now that you have more transmissible variants already native to that island as well. But even they gave that up. So what's the point of blaming the unvaccinated? If every man, woman, and child got quadruple vaxxed, it wouldn't even make a difference at this point. The disease is seasonal. So I say, oh, get your cold vaccine, get your flu vaccine. Everyone can get the flu vaccine. It won't stop the flu from existing. You could tell people that you'll get shot if you go outside your goddamn home throughout the entire flu season. The flu would still come back the next year. It's just people would have less resistance. It's stupid. The unvaccinated are causing the problem. No. Biden's causing the problem. You and people like you. Harvey Quarry, demonization of the non-vaccinated is extremely worrying, dividing society into us and them while increasing authoritarian control. I fear for the U.S. and every other country, other than apparently Sweden, Norway, and Denmark. They'll be fine. I guess it's time for a Scandinavian Union. I'll have to learn Norwegian or something. Liam Sexton, there's a restaurant near me in Japan called Little Amsterdam. I've been meaning to try it. Once I do, I'll get back to you how it is. If they have bitterball in it, would be very intense, I'm sure. Maybe they put squid in it or something. That'd be funny. Black Raven, the Pope and all the Vatican endorses Joe Biden. Yes, by the way, the Vatican rocked by the biggest sex scandal in hundreds of years. Hundreds of thousands of individual cases of priest abuse in France alone, uncovered and documented. The Pope comes out and apologizes like, well, I mean, you've been overseeing the Catholic Church for a while. There's a reason why the more religious Catholics throw you under the bus and call you Vatican II and won't recognize you as anything other than an anti-pope. Brian Zwart, he's getting high on his own supply. If Biden took drugs at this point, you have a coronary. Punished Chris, according to Open Secrets, Biden received $456,000 from Big Pharma, while the father of the vaccine, Trump, received $1.4 million. That couldn't have anything to do with mandates, right? Right? Yeah. You're saying that Trump got more? Which big pharma corporations? Because Biden's the one that's been pushing that. Trump never pushed a mandate, which actually was interesting. He was pushed to do that, and he refused. Abraham Lincoln, should Roe v. Wade be overturned? Let states decide. Well, they're already deciding. Roe v. Wade's not going to be overturned, but it provides a loose framework, which is one that other states basically reinterpret at the state level at a whim. I have no problem with that, but I don't have a problem with abortion. I happen to be pro-choice. Isaac DeZormo, it still boggles my mind how unvaccinated hurt vax people. Need to look into the Nords. They do with the social programs. Lols. Yeah, and what about the Amish? The Amish are a big threat. Why doesn't Joe Biden blame the millions of Amish people in Lancaster and places around there? Why doesn't he blame them? Clearly, they're a repository for this terrible virus. But he's not going to do that. I don't even think the Amish vote. Maybe they do. Chad Scott, physician here. While I recommend the vax to patients, I don't force them. Personal choice. Many people are fatigued and now look down on the unvaxxed. Sad. Yeah, and some other people, by reaction, look down upon the vaccinated. And I'm like, if you're 80 years old or something, then, maybe you weigh that and you say you should get vaccinated. I don't have a problem with the vaccine. I have a problem with people like Joe Biden saying if you don't get it, that you're an Untermensch, you're a subhuman, you're a primitive, you're a second-class citizen. Genocides usually start that way, dude. Drearier Spider One getting married next year, thinking of Amsterdam and Holland for the honeymoon. How's the COVID BS in the Netherlands? There is none. Nobody cares. Virtually all restrictions are gone. If you're outdoor dining, there's this COVID pass thing only basically counts if you want to use the toilet inside the restaurant. But there are so few public toilets in the Netherlands, they don't seem to have been invented really, that it doesn't really matter. Nobody cares.
Because people are reluctant to go out. Think about this. Even in places where there is no restriction on going to restaurants and gyms and movie theaters, people are not going in anywhere near the numbers because they're worried they're going to get sick.
That is a lie. There's actually a significant business boom in places that have opened up and ended the restrictions. Hence, by the way, in part, although not in full, the shortage problem. You have more demand, but you have a throttled supply because a lot of that supply comes from places like California and New York that are still limiting businesses. Oh, I think we've isolated the issue. By the way, those shortages, if I remember correctly, slightly less bad in areas that are supplied by Miami because that's in Florida. Now, isn't that very, very interesting? But Biden's never going to tell you that.
I've tried everything in my power to get people vaccinated.
Oh, I've tried everything.
When I was sworn into office back in January 20th, is I bought enough vaccine right off the bat to vaccinate every single American. There were only 4 million Americans who have been vaccinated up to that point, even though the virus had been around. Second, we made everyone eligible to get a vaccination and made it easy and convenient for them to find a place to get vaccinated. Over 880,000.
Also false. There were certain groups that were absolutely precluded from that. Pregnant women were generally not offered the vaccine. People under 12 were not offered the vaccine. So what are you talking about, dude? It wasn't universal vaccination. It was universal vax for most people, but not all people. Not everyone can get one. Some people still can't get it now, but you still think that they're subhuman, right? Millions of Americans, they're terrible people. Yeah, pregnant women and little kids and the Amish, they're the bane of society. They're causing the collapse of Western civilization. It's not your retarded policies. It's the Amish's fault. Mandrake, just a first to be able to say thanks. You are a relief from monotony. Man, take care. Thank you very much. JJ Lovecraft. Hey, Sticks, are you writing anything about the divide in society in America? No, not at the moment. The divide looks worse than it seems. Should make a video on the subject, though, I suppose. Captain Spire, by the way, please send fewer super chats because I do need to get to a few more minutes of Biden rambling. Captain Spire, I felt like a sellout having to take the poke to keep a 15-year running job. The company gave me the line, we're not forcing anything, but if you don't, you need to call HR. Exemptions don't work. I believe that you can request testing. You could also potentially sue, but yeah, for some people that's hard. Isaac DeZormo, Amish don't pay Social Security thanks to their mass fuck you of 450,000 people saying no to the federal government. Therefore, we need more Amish. Well, they do have a nice lifestyle. They just don't have good Wi-Fi. Scott Gibo, $9.99, no comment, thank you. Maddocaster, at what point will there be a groundswell of people who will speak up and say Biden is effectively fomenting medical discrimination? Oh, it's already here. Absolutely. Okay, let's get back to Biden.
Third, we gave everyone ample time and information to deal with their concerns. We developed hundreds of millions of dollars in incentives. You did here in the city and the state of Illinois.
We offered people free donuts. We don't understand why they didn't want to get the needle in their arm.
The community organizations encourage vaccinations. Governor Pritzker, you've done one hell of a job in terms of encouraging people before we get to the mandate. But even after all these efforts, we still had more than a quarter of the people in the United States who were eligible for vaccinations, but didn't get the shot. And we know there is no other way to beat the pandemic than to get the vast majority of Americans vaccinated. It's a simple.
Okay, I would say that like 80% is or 70% is the vast majority. The funny thing is, again, he's making the argument as though it's possible to achieve 0 cases. This has been debunked. No mainstream medical complex and no nation, indeed, in the world, other than apparently in Joe Biden's fantasy-addled, demented mind, thinks that 0 cases is capable of happening. It is a seasonal pandemic virus. It is like the cold. It has been literally labeled the next cold by several countries now, countries with a medical infrastructure that you and people like you, Joe, want to emulate, that all of your leftoid friends applaud constantly, like in Sweden or in Denmark, because they're so much better, supposedly. Well, then why don't you take it to the bank and side with them and just say, hey, there's nothing to be done about it. We've got another cold. Thanks, China. Why don't you embargo China? Oh, that's right. They've got you over a barrel because of your son. You're the daddy of Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden, the pervert and the crack smoker who was having orgies with underage girls, and we now know that that's objectively true. But he won't get in trouble because Joe Biden's DOJ won't do anything about it. The English loyalist. You think BLM is going to riot over the mandates? Watch the Democrats come down hard on them. Do you think we are going to see an economic crash soon? We're already seeing economic problems all over the world. That much is clear. And the Democrats did crack down on Occupy. You remember that. They were all leftoids. You got to understand the Democrats are not run by leftists. They're run by corporate neoliberals. They don't like the left. Lois Lerner's IRS screwed as many progressive groups, so-called, as it did conservative groups, so-called. Cyan Wizard, since yesterday there, CDC, etc., are now recommending pregnant women get the vaccine, saying the benefits outweigh the risks. Yeah, good luck. Adrian Sutton, Sticks, you are my white pill. Tell me, what do you think of the Free State Project, and do you know about any mandates in New Hampshire? Husband wants to move to Norway, but I want to stay in the U.S. New Hampshire is probably better as opposed to going overseas, which is a much more complex process. New Hampshire's got a decent amount of land, low-ish taxes, pro-gun. I don't believe there's any mandates there. And I was born there, so I'm a little bit biased. I've always lived next door in Vermont anyway. New Hampshire is sort of like the more mature brother of Vermont. Vermont's sort of like the hippie, trippy, weed smoking brother. New Hampshire is like the one that, can handle a firearm and then not blow its foot off. Isaac DeZormo, don't read this. Just have my money. Well, I read it anyway. You can't stop me. Fuck you. I won't do what you tell me. These days, it's not rage against the machine. It's rage in favor of the machine. Rage in favor of the system. Fuck you. Get vaccinated, pissant. Brian Zvart, ironic how he doesn't understand the value of personal choice. Oh, he does, as long as it's him making the choice. He just doesn't understand that other people have that choice too. Kelly Courtney, I'm a wire sculptor. Want a wire seal or pentagram or something? Maybe an abracadabra pyramid or OTR esoteric visual you'd like to see made in one line. That could be cool. You DM me on Twitter if you have an account there, and we could talk about that. Wouldn't mind having a little Stolas necklace or something. My guardian demon. Sebastian Rivera Tirado, speaking of emulating Europe, why do the liberals not see anything wrong with Spain beating the crap out of migrants in Ceuta and Melilla? Because they're Hispanic. So that's okay. They're good people. They're allowed to do what they want. Ryan Katsu Rivera, did you hear about the bird, which is the bald eagle? Yes, I know about the existence as an American. I don't know what you mean, but yeah. Joe Biden's dentures. O'Keefe from Project Veritas on Timcast last night. Everyone should see that. One more super chat, and then I'm not reading anymore. I've got to get to Biden here because, I've got other things I got to do too. Metalhead 100,000 or wait, 10,000. Sorry. Come on, man. Get the vaccine for the thing. All right, we're going to Biden for a few minutes here, and no more super chats will be read out. So don't send them unless you don't care if they're read out. They'll still appear in chat though.
Variants, it's all dangerous and obvious, but we're still not there. We have to beat this thing. So while I didn't race to do it right away, that's why I've had to move toward requirements that everyone get vaccinated, where I had the authority to do.
One more, because I don't think that you saw. No more super chats, please. Paracelsus Underrock. How many platinum coins do you think the Treasury will mint? 0. They've been talking about that for years.
My administration is now requiring federal workers to be vaccinated. We've also required federal contractors to be vaccinated. If you have a contract with the federal government working for the federal government, you have to be vaccinated. We're requiring active duty military to be vaccinated. We're making sure healthcare workers are vaccinated, because if you seek care at a healthcare facility, you should have the certainty that the people providing that care are protected from COVID and cannot spread it to you. The Labor Department is going to shortly issue an emergency rule, which I asked for several weeks ago, and they're going through the process to require all employees with more than 100 people, whether they work for the federal government or not, this is within in the purview of the Labor Department, to ensure their workers are fully vaccinated or face testing at least once a week. In total, this Labor Department vaccination requirement will cover 100 million Americans, about 2/3.
And it's also unconstitutional and embattled in several courts, just so that we're aware. I don't expect that it will ultimately be enforced for long, because clearly it is unlawful. It's funny, he talks about the Labor Department, but he doesn't want to talk about the job statistics that just came out literally the same day. He doesn't want to talk about the fact that 500,000 fewer jobs than expected were created in the month of September. Whoops. Whose economy is it, Joe? This is Bidenomics in action.
Of all the people who work in America. And here's the deal. These requirements are already proving that they work. Starting in July, when I announced the first vaccination requirement for the federal government, about 95 million eligible Americans were unvaccinated. This was mentioned a little bit earlier. Today, we reduced that number to 67 eligible Americans who aren't vaccinated. And today, we released a new report outlining effective vaccination requirements that are already proving their worth. This report shows three things. First, vaccination requirements result in more people getting vaccinated.
If I abuse people more, some people will give in. That's basically what it's about. Yeah, if we turn up those hoses more, then fewer black people will be rioting on the bridge. Bull Connor was right. Yeah, this is a real great step in a progressive direction. That's basically what it sounds like to me. If we take more of people's money, they won't buy as much. Okay. Talk about no-brainers.
In the past few weeks, as more and more organizations have implemented their own requirements, they've seen their vaccination rates rise dramatically. For example, the Department of Defense has gone from 67% of active duty forces being vaccinated to 97% as of tomorrow. Vaccination just 6 weeks into this vaccination requirement. That's how quickly it's moved.
That's interesting because there was a report yesterday that showed that the Pfizer vaccine, after a couple of months, its ability to protect you against significant illness remains the same, but its ability to protect you from having a viral load commensurate with spreading it to others begins to wear off. At this point, the originally vaccinated, the vaccines, as far as preventing transmission, have become fundamentally useless. They'll still protect these people against potentially significant illness, which is, good, especially for the older or the immunocompromised, but they're not going to stop the virus from transmitting, and it's still evolving. What the hell is the point? But the real point is that he wants to give a kickback to all of his big pharma buddies, to all of the companies that work with Pfizer and Moderna. They're getting huge dividends. I believe that the CEO of Moderna, or its founder rather, just entered the Fortune 500 for the first time as of the other day.
We're also seeing this at colleges and universities across the country. More than 95% of students at colleges and universities like Northwestern University, Illinois, Chicago are vaccinated. And we're going to see it in health systems around the country as well. Rush University Medical Center here in Chicago has gone from 72% to more than 95% of its employees fully vaccinated under its requirements. These requirements work. And as the Business Roundtable and others told me when I announced
it doesn't matter if it's completely unlawful and objectionable and against everything that the Americas were founded for, it works, so it's okay. Okay. That's like saying that if you started just gunning down people suspected of crimes in the streets, the crime rate would drop. Well, yeah, of course it would. And all of those innocent people dying, yeah, that's fine. The crime rate dropped. Rapes are down 15%. Murders are down 12%.
First requirement that encouraged businesses to feel they could come in and demand the same thing of their employees. More people are getting vaccinated. More lives are being saved. Let's be clear. When you see headlines and reports of mass firings and hundreds of people losing their jobs, look at the bigger story. I've spoken with Scott Kirby, CEO.
We've got considerable jobless number problems right now, but the bigger story is really it has nothing to do with those mass firings that affect hundreds of thousands of people. We've got shortages of workers in most U.S. hospitals now, but the fact that a bunch of people got fired, that's not the real story. We're actually helping the sick by doing this. Well, that's horseshit. It doesn't make any sense.
United Airlines is here today. United went from 59% of their employees to 99% of their employees in less than 2 months.
And you know why that happened? Because a lot of the unvaccinated were fired. Oh, 99% of the people are vaccinated now. Yes, that's because a lot of people quit or were fired. Well, to find other work, there are small businesses in the country that are exempt from the mandate, that aren't contractors and don't have 100 employees. There are plenty of non-governmental groups in the country. That's the majority of the workforce doesn't work for the government, thankfully, yet. Yeah, okay, that's wonderful. You're talking about individual businesses or fields in which there's a greater proportion of people vaccinated. But the thing is that doesn't affect the actual vaccination rate. If you have a business, okay, you got 50% of them are vaccinated. 50 employees are, 15 aren't, 50 aren't. As 100 employees, so it falls into the mandate. And then all 50 of the non-vaccinated ones say, fuck you and leave. Well, now it's 100%. 100% of the employees over only a month have been vaccinated. But there were no new vaccinations. Lies, damn lies, and statistics. Always pick apart what these morons say. Because that's basically a lie by omission right there. It's a statistical lie. The number of new vaccinations picked up, but not as much as he's claiming. He's just trying to shock people into just saying, fuck it, and getting the jab.
After implementing the requirement, 99%. And by the way, Scott, I want you to know I've instructed the Justice Department to make sure that we deal with the violence on aircraft coming from those people who are taking issues. We're going to deal with that.
We're going to deal with those damn unvaccinated causing problems on aircraft. How many cases of that have actually happened? 3. What a goddamn moral panic. Talk about witch hunts. Now we're back in the goddamn dark ages. It's like being back in the burning times. The lies by statistics, the lies by omissions, the outright propaganda, the superstitious bullshit, the horseshit from top down from idiots like this that he doesn't know anything about medicine. I could run rings around this moron in a debate about medicine just by studying herbals and fucking stuff from the 1800s. I probably know more about the history of medicine than anyone on his staff. His fucking Surgeon General probably knows less about the history of medicine. What are you talking about, dude?
In the last days of their implementation, they cut the remaining number of employees left to get vaccinated in half. They went from 67,000 United employees to 67,000, 66,800 complied. People chose to get vaccinated. That's why we're seeing more companies signing up. I recently met with the CEOs of Disney, Microsoft, who you're familiar with here, Walgreens.
I met with a bunch of billionaires and they pledged to tell their employees to shut the fuck up. By the way, I'm a working class man and I love unions and union workers. I really love the middle class. They're supposed to have lots and lots of freedom and more of their money and stuff. These billionaires are evil, but I met with them to talk about the proles and how they have to comply like lemmings. Show your papers, bitch.
To hear about their requirements. The Business Roundtable represents 200 of the largest businesses in the world, and it has championed vaccination requirements to keep businesses open and workers safe. America's largest aerospace companies.
I always cough when Biden coughs.
Raytheon, who I met with yesterday, the chairman of the board, Northrop Grumman. They all just announced plans to implement vaccination requirements. Even
here comes his next stroke.
Fox News.
Oh, he's whispering again. That means that something mysterious is something secretive. You're in on the joke, by the way, everyone. You know, the 9,200 people that watch this are in on the joke. On the White House official stream. They got badly ratioed. By the way, there's like almost 2,700 people watching this. What would that be? That'd be 9 Biden loser units already. Probably more people than watch this live.
Fox News requires vaccinations for all employees.
That's because Fox News is a multinational globalist sellout corporation. I've been warning people for years.
Give me a break. Fox News.
Meanwhile, Stick Sex and Hammer Incorporated does not require vaccinations. I wonder, does Tim Pool require his staff to be vaccinated? I doubt it. I don't think he has 100 employees. Does America First? Does Alex Jones require vaccination? What about Crowder? Do his several dozen staff have to be vaccinated? No, the real media is all against you, and you know, half of us aren't vaxxed, and those that are, well, more power to them. They chose to. They weren't mandated usually.
Over the past week, we've seen American, Southwest, Alaska, JetBlue Airlines all announce requirements. The leaders in Chicago are stepping up. As I said, the mayor, Mayor Lightfoot, Governor Pritzker are requiring vaccinations for state and city workers, healthcare workers, and teachers.
Meanwhile, Biden definitely avoids mentioning that the sheriff of LA County has just refused to comply with the mandate because he estimates he'd lose 10% of his deputies. Just to be clear. But he's just a redneck, right, Joe? Yeah, he's the sheriff of Los Angeles, to be clear. A reasonably high up there position in policing. But he's just a rube, right? He's a superstitious redneck for saying, hey, I can't lose 10% of my deputies. It'll take us too long to refill these positions. There'll be a backlog and people will die. He doesn't tell you about that now, does he?
Chicagoland Chamber Commissioner Jack Levin.
Yeah, imagine caring about Fox
has
News.
called for all members of the chamber to require vaccinations for their employees going back to work in person. And I came here to Clayco to thank this company for doing the right thing. Today.
By the way, have you noticed during his speeches, after he has a coughing fit, he always does the whispery thing and then he has the hoarse voice and he speaks lower? That's because he plays out his voice. He sits there, he's an older man. So he can't speak for 20 minutes without doing that. I mean, I think it's been, 10, 15 minutes since we started this or something like that. Yeah, something like that, like 15 minutes. He can't even get through 15 minutes without having a problem. Whoops. Whoops.
Clayco is announcing
taking a poke.
It's going to require all employees to be fully vaccinated or test once a week. It matters. I know
It matters, everyone. It matters. All these employees getting the jab. They can still transmit it to everyone else, but trust me, give Pfizer more fucking money. Our stockholders, they're not going to wait forever. Their patience is limited. Our patience with people that are holding back our stock options, they're wearing really goddamn thin, dude. Get the fucking jab, prole.
Decisions aren't easy, but you're setting an example and a powerful example. Second thing I like to say, today's report shows that vaccination requirements are good for the economy.
I like how Nick Clark there. Anomaly was right about you. Yes, he was initially. He was very, very friendly off camera. Very, very friendly in the first stage of the debate till I actually debated him. Then the dude decided to bitch out and block me on Twitter and, spurg out and stuff like that. Yeah, he was right about me. I'm a very well-dressed man. He even wore a Hawaiian shirt for that debate. His one trick thing, he decided to throw it by the wayside and take up a second trick of trying to debate people on vaccination. That's the backstory there, which is hysterical. Trying to cast me as being pro-vax mandate. Trying to cast Trump off as the same thing. By the way, a couple more super chats here. G-Sticks, Brandon gives me brain nausea. I think he has plenty of it himself. Adam THM, here in Northern Illinois, we don't follow these stupid mandates our governor imposed. Worst case, we just head to the border to Wisconsin to shop. That's what I would do. Thankfully here in, Europistan, supposedly everything's massively socialistic and the government's all powerful and stuff. Here, I don't notice it. Other than the gunlessness, it's more laissez-faire here in the Netherlands than it is in most parts of the U.S. I wish more Americans would travel here and fucking see the difference. Spend a little bit of time. Be an expat for 3 or 4 months. You can get with just basically a passport, you can spend 3 months in the European Union. No questions asked, by the way, right? Just so everyone knows. You don't need a visa. Visa-free travel. Come and see it for yourself. It's a good idea. I mean, costly, but you can do that. Come over as a group, rent out a little place for a few months. Gunlessness is unfortunate. I wish that I had, a fucking AK right now, do some target practice. But other than that, I gotta say, there's less paranoia in the inner city, like in Amsterdam. There's less paranoia in Amsterdam than there was in Rutland when I went back last February. Small town America. There's 25,000 people in the whole metro area. It's small town America. And it's not far left. Certainly not by Vermont standards. It's basically, a swing state part of Vermont. Everyone's in masks. There's fucking face shields everywhere and all sorts of signs saying mandate this, quarantine that. Nobody cares here. I never see anyone in a mask. Oh, yes, by the way, to Albino Viper there, I will talk about the jobs report really quickly. For anyone that didn't hear, the jobs report just came out for the last month, for September. It was bad. Really, I shouldn't even be laughing because, you know, it's not good because it means that people are unemployed. But the jobs report came in about 500,000 underestimated. This was even worse than for August. The economy is moving in completely the wrong direction. And this moron here, Beijing Biden, is pretending like that's not a thing. It's his fault. His and his blue state buddies like Lori Lightfoot and the mayor of Illinois and the others that are there at this goofy meeting here, this moron meeting. Get to another minute of him, and then we'll turn him off. I can't listen to the whole thing.
But to help send people back to work. Back to work. You know, when I first started the vaccination program, and we got all that vaccine.
Okay, here's something fun. I'll even pop it in chat. Just a second here. Give me a second. Yeah, we're going to have some fun with Scott Adams. Just a second, everyone in chat. Don't worry. Real coffee with Scott Adams. By the way, I like Scott Adams, so I mean, I'm asking you to clank on him, but I'm not asking you to insult him because I do like the dude, even if he's a little out on a limb on certain issues. In chat, I am now posting something for everyone cross-platform. This is apparently a live stream going on literally right now with Scott Adams, Coffee with Scott Adams. You're on this live stream. Go join his and leave him like a spoon emoji. I'm going to be watching. I don't dare to chat, but I will be watching. This will be funny. His live chat is open. Just don't get yourself banned. I'm not asking you to harass the dude. I do like his commentary, and he is kind of funny. But, yeah, give him yes, give him a clank. This will be great. I'll plop it in chat again in a minute. Yeah, this is not a raid, by the way. Yeah, please don't bring up raid there. You can clank on him and, you know, post spoons and stuff like that. It'll be funny to see his response. Nobel Prize, new focus, penis, yes or no, plus self-identification plus race. Okay. Old focus, brains. What is clank? That is great. Oh, boy. Yeah. I think he's slightly confused at the moment. I'll do this for a couple minutes. He knows. He's going to ignore it. You should draw him into a discussion. Make up something esoteric about clank and how it's deeply theoretical or something. If you just post clank or something, people eventually you'll get. I'm assuming he has mods of ban you or something. He's so confused. Yeah, you're the one having coffee. Of course you're gonna clank your spoon. Get him to clank his spoon in the coffee. Tell him that he needs to clank the spoon in the coffee for meme purposes. I know this has nothing to do with Biden. Fuck Biden. This is way more funny. Oh. We're ruining the show by participating in chat. Come on, dude. Tell him put the spoon in the coffee and clank it against the cup. Scott, get him on my live stream maybe. Scott, if you can hear me, clank your spoon in your coffee. Damn it. No. So Let's Go Brandon is fine, but Clank, that's distracting, and he might turn off YouTube. Come on. Be a trooper. Oh. Like this, but imagine it's a spoon. Anyway, that's enough fun with Scott. You can keep up with it, and if you get any juicy bits, make sure to record it. If you get anything juicy, please make sure to show me Twitter DM or something like that. Thank you, by the way, for telling me that was live. That usually doesn't happen because of the times that I'm live, and that's the sort of lifeblood of the channel. Just have fun. Go and clank on people. Feed me more live streams. Fucking DM me live streams and we'll, not raid, but, go and tell people to make coffee. And he's having coffee and he's worried about people telling him to spoon clank when he's doing the Let's Go Brandon thing. It'd be funny if he raided chat here sometime. He has quite a few followers too. That'd be funny. They all start talking about hypnosis or something. Anyway, I think I'm going to go off here because I can't take any more of Biden. He just lies too much. And we've already gotten derailed anyway, let's face it. So, yeah, this was definitely one of the more fun streams. And also, yeah, dinner calls and having snacks and shit like that. I will try to set things up. If people cooperate with me and help me, we can do some great things as far as getting live streams going and then clanking on other people, which we've done that to the Young Turks and we've done it to Scott Adams. Not a raid, but confusing him. Sorry, Scott, if you see this, I don't mean to be insulting or anything like that. It's just we're encouraging you to drink more coffee. It's the whole point of your show. But yeah, especially if they're leftoid streams, though. Just imagine a Hannon Reloaded goes live or something. There's 1,000 people showing up to say clank. It'll, cause them to go insane. That's what you do. It's like I said when Beijing Biden first got Hong Kong elected as the asterisk president. The best way to go forth against these people is to ridicule and mock them mercilessly. That's the best thing that you can do. And yes, there will be more MRE reviews in the future, but I have to get back in the US because I've got several MREs there, including another vegetarian lasagna, my favorite, which they don't sell anymore because, the army is stupid. The one they discontinue is literally the best menu that they had, at least among the vegetarian options. There were some others that were good. The beef stew, I think I liked, and a few others, but they get rid of the best one. And it always has a little packet of that seasoning. And I don't know what exactly they put in the blend. Salt, celery, rosemary, and a few other things. They blended it perfectly. You could literally sell that in stores and it would sell out instantaneously. It was better than any brand seasoning I've ever used in my life. So yeah, after clanking on poor Scott Adams there and confusing the shit out of him, I will now be going off here. If I missed any super chats, I do apologize. However, they will be in the live chat replay, so they will be there. You didn't pay for nothing, and it's all good. That's about all. Peace out.